This review contains spoilers. We start in Asgard and little Floki gets arrested by Boss Judge before she was Boss Judge. Little Floki can escape though. Mobius is talking with Boss Judge, Floki is praising Floki and they get saved by the TVA and then arrested. Mobius talks again with Boss Judge, Mobius talks with Floki, Speedy talks with Floki, Mobius steals the phone thing from Boss Judge, frees Floki and gets killed. Boss Judge brings Floki and Floki to the Timekeepers and the boss fight happens. Let's jump into the review, shall we? Do you remember the bombing of the Sacred Timeline in episode 2? Yep, still not dealing with this. Little Floki gets arrested, but where are the guards? I mean, Odin has his enemies, and I'm sure since the Asgardians have their own teleportation technology and are aware of other races with technology, that there would be guards around to protect his kids. So conveniently the guards are not around when Floki gets arrested. Boss Judge talked to the Timekeepers. We didn't see the conversation, just that she saw them. After this she is talking with Mobius and he is asking Boss Judge about Dreadlock's girl. They whisper because they talk about something delicate. Boss Judge has her own bureau, so why aren't they have this conversation not there? I mean, they behave as they would talk about some really serious secrets, for which the hallway isn't the best place to talk about, I think. I said that we do not deal with the bombing of the Sacred Timeline. Can it be that they dealt with it off screen? I mean, there were a lot of Nexus events happening, and the so-called Sacred Timeline seems to be okay while they are searching for Loki and Floki. It could have been interesting to see what effect this bombing would have had on the timeline and which problems come with an act like this, but nah. We see Loki and Floki running, then talking, then walking, then running again. The end of Loki and Floki is near, and of course we have to validate Floki and how great she is since she did all of what she did alone and for the greater good, and not being a selfish prick like Loki is. Then Floki touches tenderly Loki's arm and he's like, whoa! I mean, with his body language. And this touch makes a new branch on the timeline? The show contradicts itself here. In episode 2, Loki found out that if you hide in extinction events, you can do whatever you want because everything gets destroyed, and this is the reason why it was so hard for the TVA to find Floki. And why should this touch lead to a Nexus event? Their interactions with people, like in episode 3, should have been enough for making a new branch then. Loki says he should have an equal amount of security and that this is insulting that Floki has 2 more. She's the best. And I didn't even notice this if he wouldn't have said this. So this makes my eyes roll heavily. Then the dialogue. The dialogues are poorly, but here is it a new low. At least I do not remember worse than this. So Loki says, "You betrayed me." And Mobius' response is, "No, you betrayed me." And Loki says then, "Oh, grow up." And, the response is, "No, you grow up." That's funny because they talk like kids with each other. To make Loki talk with Mobius, Mobius throws him into a time loop in which Sif hits him in the balls. Like I said, in a time loop, so that is funny because getting hit in the balls over and over again is just hilarious. And the funny part is the prank Loki did was cutting her hair. What a funny god of mischief. And of course, this punishment makes Loki see the light and shows him what a piece of shit he actually is. Mobius goes to Boss Judge and tells her that he wants to speak with Floki. He argues that he thinks that Floki isn't the mastermind here but Floki. Boss Judge then replies with, "Good, then he should be easier to break." What argumentation is this, or reasoning? How long are they after her? Why should Floki know anything about her plans? He knows Floki for 1 day or 2. After this event, Mobius is interrogating him anew. Why is Mobius asking how long he is working with the variant? He was only on their radar after he took the Tesseract and vanished. If Floki would have had contact with him, a Nexus event would have been created. Mobius is then pretending that Floki got killed by the TVA, which makes Floki very sad, because it seems that he's in love with her. Is Disney aware that Loki and Floki still have the same parents, and that it would be kind of incestual if they would go for it? That is a really weird decision they made with Loki falling in love with Floki. Speedy is struggling with what she saw when Floki took her out in episode 2. We don't see it though, just Speedy's reaction. So she goes into the room where they put Floki in, and Speedy takes her to the place where they were in episode 2. Why are they not inside? That makes no sense to stay in the rain and makes it even more complicated with explaining yourself to others why they both are wet. So Speedy asks Floki what she did to her, and she then asks Floki to show her again. The thing is, Floki wears the neck thing, which blocks the powers. So how is this possible? And again, we do not see what Speedy saw, just her facial expression. So Mobius gets the smartphone thing from Boss Judge and gets the file from Dreadlock's girl. Why isn't that deleted if this is such a secret? And why isn't there something like a code to put in to use this thing? I mean, even phones have this kind of protection, especially if you can access all of the secret shit they have. I mean, imagine Tony Stark having no passwords for his tech. That would be insane. After Mobius learns the truth about Dreadlock's girl, he goes to Loki and asks him if he really believes that he deserves to be alone. The question of itself is stupid. What should this have to do with anything the TVA does? They talk more, and then Mobius asks him that he shall now trust 2 Lokis. Loki answers, "How about trusting a friend?" I guess he means himself with this. On which base is this? Everything is an ongoing event for a few days. Mobius and Loki didn't have so much time together that they could call themselves friends. So on which base is this friendship built on? I like how this right guy stands. Doesn't really look normal. And I have to say it again. You shouldn't hold the staff like this. That doesn't make a lot of sense. They prune Mobius, and this was a really emotional moment because they said 3 minutes ago that they are friends. And Loki seems to be very sad because they are friends. After this, they bring Loki to the elevator which leads to the Timekeepers. The guards who are holding him are looking as would they be bored as hell, not intimidated or anything, just bored. Boss Judge goes then to Floki and sees that Speedy got her all wet. Speedy has now the status compromised as well, and they hunt her too. She also gets brought to the elevator. Floki, not Speedy. So Boss Judge brings them to the Timekeepers. Before though, Floki asks Boss Judge, what she has done to be a variant. Boss Judge doesn't remember. And now it's guessing time. My guess is that little Floki decided to be a girly girl, and this was against the will of the sacred timeline. Just a guess. Bloki and Floki are now with the Timekeepers, and I'm honestly surprised to see them. I thought we will see them at the end of the show. I mean, this is all a scam since these Timekeepers are androids, which was also surprising to me, and I like this, to be honest. I'm just glad that I watched this with subtitles because some of the keepers are very difficult to understand. Floki and Bloki are arguing with the keepers, and every time Floki wants to move, Boss Judge uses her remote to set her back. But then it doesn't work, because Speedy is the master of timing. Do you get it? Timing, the time theme in the show. She takes away the neck thing for Floki and Bloki, which means stuff are getting cool now, because they can use their powers, right? Right? Nah, nothing cool. Speedy throws then the machete to Floki and gets hit by the guards. Wait, the guards are knocking Speedy out? What? How? It continues with a badly edited action scene in which Bloki and Floki fight the four guards. Bloki gets cut on his arm. Then he asks Floki for help, and since Floki is a far better fighter than Bloki, she gives him the machete because she can fight without weapons as well. So the two guards are attacking Floki. The first tries to stab her. She can dodge and takes his staff away from him, kicks him and stabs the other one to death. So Floki took out both, but Bloki is still fighting against his two. While Bloki is still fighting his fight, Floki is challenging Boss Judge to a boss fight. Do you get it? Boss Judge, boss fight. Boss Judge hits Floki with the sharp part. Why doesn't get Floki a cut on her face, and why is nobody using their powers? After Floki won against Boss Judge, Bloki is winning too, against his two guards. After the fight, Floki takes the head of one of the keepers, and even though they are robots or androids, it is still surprising that their reaction to the beheading is laughing, and after this they shut down. Then Bloki is stumbling because he wanna tell her about his feelings, and Bloki gets pruned. They are in a freaking small room, and Floki didn't see Boss Judge standing up, taking a weapon and stuff. Bloki is not that fat. Look at how freaking small this room is. So how was this possible? This episode was really bad, but as bad as it was, the Timekeeper stuff was a surprise and the credit music is great. And we have in this episode at the end a post-credit scene, which was kind of funny because there was a lizard Loki, but it is also weird that only episode 4 has something like this. I'm sorry for the review taking that long to come out. I had technical problems which made it impossible to make the review. And I think yesterday came episode 5 out, so my next review after this will be episode 5, I think. It's not how I planned it to do, but hey, at least I catch up. So, this was my review of episode 4. What did you think about this episode? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. You can follow me on Twitter, you find the link in the description box down below. Thank you for watching, have a nice one, you take care, see ya.